What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're taking a look over here at the Bitcoin price chart. We'll take a look at the total altcoin market cap. Of course, we'll talk about the XRP price chart because yesterday I put out a pretty intense video, getting a lot of messages, a lot of tweets on Twitter, a lot of comments on the video saying, "Oh my gosh, oh no, should we be worried about XRP?" Nothing changes for me with XRP. Last week, I gave my full thought process on what's going on with XRP. And just because we put out yesterday's video about the SEC hurt XRP investors at just the right time, of course, I should have thought about it. A lot of people's emotions flip and flop is crazy. And half the time I am being like a therapist on this channel. But essentially, yesterday I put out a video and incredibly got shared so many times. It's got over 20,000 likes on that video. I've never had that happen in the history of my YouTube channel. But the reality was that video was not for you. 100,000 people watched it, but it wasn't for you. It was by you. I came up with the idea of that video and started kind of writing it out and blueprinting it out. And I messaged John Deaton at Crypto Law and I said, "Hey man, can I use your video in my video? I kind of have this idea that I'm thinking about going in. Would you mind if I use your video?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course, man. Use it. Do whatever you want with it." And I was like, all right, I'm going to make a video directed towards a congressman or a congresswoman. And, there's 50,000 people on the XRP holders list that are friends of the court. And, rather than just, doing everything in, legal terms and polite ways and, appeasing the judges and everything, I was like, I'm going to make a video directed straight at a congressman or a congresswoman, directed straight at the media, and try to give a voice to this whole group of people and try to encapsulate what the true emotions of the group are like. Everybody's emotions are going to be different and their perspective on everything is going to be different, but I tried to visualize what I could imagine the whole group looking like and tried to deliver that message to a congressman or a congresswoman or the media as if that group of 50,000 people was one person and that one person had emotions, that one person had a voice. So it's been shared far and wide. We'll see what ends up happening with it. As for me, I'm a chart guy. I look at charts, I look at markets, I understand the rotations. You guys know I have the expectation that the top of Bitcoin is just about in. Historically, when that happens, there's this monster rotation that happens in the market. XRP has historically been a major beneficiary of that occurring. I stay with that expectation that this market is behaving the way it has previously in regards to Bitcoin tops, altcoin cycles, all that good stuff. So nothing changes for me, but I know a lot of people needed to have their voices heard, and it felt like nobody was out there listening. And I just tried to compile it and get it out there. And even in that video, I mentioned I'm an optimist. I'm still expecting us to get to above $10 to catch up to the rest of the market. And there's not a chance I'm changing my opinion on that. And there's not a chance I'm giving up on XRP. There were several people who asked that. Are you giving up? You sound like you're fading away. Think about what I'm doing with that video, man. That's the last thing from giving up. That's fighting tooth and nail, man. Either way, if you haven't caught yesterday's video or the day before, or whatever it is, the SEC hurt XRP investors at just the right time. Go check it out. You'll understand what I'm saying. I hope that you guys liked it. Moving along, let's dive into the Bitcoin price chart really quick. As you guys know, my grander perspective of the entire market is that Bitcoin is approaching its top very soon. We are now in the third mega super cycle of Bitcoin since it was incepted back in 2009. Each cycle is taking longer and longer and longer, and it is my perspective that we are not in a 4-year cycle, but in a continuation of a previous cycle that we've had. These cycles are just taking longer and longer and longer. But blockchain backer, we know you've said it 20 times. Nobody has a problem when I say it 20 times on the bottom side that, hey, this is going to hold, this is going to hold. But if you keep reiterating that, hey, I think the top's coming in, I think the top's coming in, you're the bad guy. But I'm really just presenting this larger picture real quick because we're actually going to zoom in on the shorter time frame because I think there's actually a chance that Bitcoin's in somewhat of an ABC correction right now, and it hasn't done the C leg yet. Either way, as we're approaching up here near this, what I'm going to expect to be the top of Bitcoin up here around $70,000 to $80,000. And when we count out Elliott waves, the big question is becoming, where is wave 3 going to stop? And then where's wave 5 going to take it out to, right? Well, in an Elliott wave, a lot of times what you'll see is that wave 4 will come back down to the height of wave 1 and find support on that. Now, one of the golden rules that everybody likes to follow is to say that wave 4 cannot cross above the height of wave 1. In essence, wave 4 cannot fall lower lower than the height of wave 1. Many times we see wicks that do end up crossing below the height of wave 1. If we started really plunging or something like that, and we start heading down here to like $43,000 or something, yikes. But I'm not expecting that's what's really going on in here right now. But there is a chance that wave 3 has already completed and that we are heading in to an ABC correction right in now, taking us down to complete wave 4 and then heading off for wave 5. And my personal view of all of that is that this will be the last wave of the Bitcoin bull run. But being the last wave of the Bitcoin bull run means it's the most exciting wave because that's when the altcoin market has historically gone absolutely nuts. Still have that expectation for XRP, still have that expectation for a lot of the lower altcoins that I've rotated myself into. I've gotten out of a lot of the stuff that's very high. If Ethereum pushes up any higher, I'm getting out. I've outlaid that plan a long time ago. Ethereum is getting very close to reaching out to its 4.236 extension. If we push up even just a little bit, and you can see I have an alert ready to go off, pushes up any amount, I'm ready to start laddering out of my Ethereum. I always said that as we got near $5,000, I'd be letting go of more Ethereum. That's going to be my plan. I'm going to be sticking with it. And by the time Ethereum gets to $5,000, I will have executed phase 2 of my Ethereum exit plan. And for the first time in history of having my YouTube channel, I will actually be pocketing that money. It's going to be the first time I transfer that money to my bank account. Now, go ahead and cue all the Ethereum enthusiasts that say we're going to 15,000. Cue all the Ethereum enthusiasts that say we're going to 25,000. Hey, that very well may be, but I came in here with an exit plan. I created my exit plan, shared my exit plan, and I really outlined what I was doing when Ethereum was $400. I actually haven't bought any Ethereum since it was $90. I accumulated during the 2018 capitulation and have held onto it for 3 years. My bag, on average, is up 2,500%. This is just part of my plan. My plan was a long time preference, buying into complete garbage pricing and garbage sentiment, and as things are exciting, that's as I escape. Could it go higher? Sure. Will it? Maybe. I wouldn't say I'm completely confident that it's going to just crumble on itself from right here. But I also wouldn't say I'm comfortable, pretty uncomfortable with Ethereum. Doesn't mean I'm negative towards Ethereum. I really don't have anything personal against Ethereum. I've held on to it for all these years and it's provided an awesome run. But for me, from a risk perspective, it's not worth it to me anymore. It's time to cut some. And that's not anything new. That's not something I'm just surprising you with. I outlined this over a year ago and I'm trying to give you an advance warning. I think Ethereum's price is really high. I will still hold 17.5% of my original Ethereum that I bought back in 2018, and it's ride or die. It's either going to 25 grand or it's going to zero. And I understand that risk, and that's the risk that I'm taking. And I think both of them are equally as likely. 25,000's pretty high up there, but we'll see. Either way, back over to here on Bitcoin on the shorter term time frame. As I'm talking about this ABC, what we can see that happened right over here on the Coinbase price chart is you can see this move to the downside. You can see a retracement back to the 702 retracement. We know many times when that ends up happening, what ends up occurring next? You end up getting a C leg afterwards when you get a perfect retracement like that. Now, predicting short-term time frames like this, like we're just talking about what's going to happen in the next couple of days, I'm usually not entirely confident on these types of things, but I will show it to you. Price has fallen. Price has retraced back to retracement levels. It has gotten rejected from those retracement levels. And as of right now, as of while we wait, an ABC is in the cards. Now, we've talked about this inverse price chart about Bitcoin a lot. And well, when I look at this, an ABC doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. It really just feels like you can see it happening out there on Twitter and out in the news narratives. How much good news is coming out right now about Bitcoin, right? How many mayors are deciding to take their paychecks in Bitcoin and whatever, all the different stuff, right? The sentiment out there around Bitcoin right now is very, very positive. And I keep talking about like we're primed right now for some type of like monster news to come out. And all these things are good news and they're stacking on top of each other. And that's what we saw happen earlier this year. But then there was the big news, right? It was the Elon Musk Tesla news. It was the one that got the retail investors mega excited. You know, hearing about a mayor or whatever of New York City taking his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin, that's not like groundbreaking news, right? Does that beat out the whole El Salvador stuff? Does that beat out the Tesla stuff? No. I'm looking for some type of news that creates some type of FOMO that people just completely lose it. And when I look at the inverse price chart of Bitcoin, so essentially we're looking at Bitcoin upside down, I'm waiting for that one final push to happen right there in Bitcoin. and that big news drop to happen. And I just don't think we've had it yet. We could see the warm up happening, right? We could see all these things starting to stack. We could see the sentiment getting shifted. We could see people becoming optimistic. But where's the euphoric? Where's that euphoric moment of news? So I don't know. I'm not going to put too much confidence on predicting what's going to happen in the next couple of days for Bitcoin. The only thing I can show you is we've fallen, retraced, and we pulled back from the retracement. And the thing we're just waiting for, at least the thing that I'm waiting for, is that one big final push down here on this chart, which you look over here on the right side of the screen. As you go down, price goes up, looking for that one big push to happen in Bitcoin. And I think that's going to send shockwaves throughout the market. And I think we're going to kind of really feel the excitement coming around. But either way, the true excitement for me in this market is the altcoin market. And you guys all know that at this point. And we are seeing a divergence away from Bitcoin of what's happening here in the altcoin market as the altcoin market continues to climb in an all-time high at this point, while Bitcoin is not climbing. Bitcoin is staying still. And if we do see some type of ABC come out of here in Bitcoin, we're still just repeating exactly what we continue to see at the top of Bitcoin market cycles, in which Bitcoin gets back to the all-time high, able to clear just above it, consolidates sideways in here, and during this whole time period, the altcoin market just keeps on marching upwards. And as we head into this weekend, it's still the same things that we've just kind of been waiting on and that we talked about earlier this week. We've seen these things happen historically in the past, and that's what I'm kind of basing my thought process off of, is that we've had this rally prior to capitulation in which we reach out to the 4.236 extension, big monster pullback, and now we're just creeping our way right through the top of here. And when we look at what happens historically in these moments, there eventually just becomes this massive surge that comes out. I do not know how high this thing will go in here for the total market cap of all of crypto, but historically having to work out this region and then finally just popping is what we've seen, which is also why I keep reverting back to the whole thing of it seems like news being released here, that euphoric news would make the most sense if there is some type of just blast. Because we've talked about this phenomenon a lot on this YouTube channel for about a year and a half, how you can have this rally prior to capitulation leading you out to the 4.236, big, large knockback like happened for Litecoin back in here in 2014 through 2017, and then we're working out the zone in here before this thing can take off. I would suspect, I mean, it's just me jumping to a logical conclusion that if the whole market has some type of move that occurs like this, it's going to have a narrative to go with it. I mean, that just makes perfect sense. Sure, we can rally. Sure, it can just be excitement and euphoria and whatever, but it feels like some type of narrative is going to come with it because typically they do. And, you know, everybody's going to have their own perspective on what's going to do well and what's not going to do well. And for me, for my personal perspective, I think the things that are going to do better are going to be the things that have been really lagging behind in this market and have a lot of opportunity to really catch up and swallow market cap. And historically, during these time periods of Bitcoin topping, altcoin market surging, end of cycle things, we have seen XRP absolutely blast off. And I really went into detail on that last week. And that's where my perspective still remains. So I feel I have to reiterate that because a lot of people really kind of question that by me putting out a fight video yesterday or a video to try to get the voice out there. This market is primed. I mean primed for an XRP blast off. And a lot of you guys know that for me personally, I think things just tend to fall into place because the charts say that it's time for things to fall into place. Whether or not, you know, we're living in a simulation or if it's God or if it's the universe coming together, the balance of the programming of the mathematics in the universe of how everything just happens to line up and do what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it. I'm a believer that those things happen and they happen all the time. And whether it's the puppet masters pulling the puppet strings at just the right time, that things tend to happen. But I care about the XRP army. The XRP army brought me to this party. This YouTube channel would not be where it is at right now without the XRP army. And I always say in my videos, I've got your back. And I mean it. I put myself out there. You know, I don't know if the black SUVs are going to come rolling up and scoop me up and take me off somewhere into an open field. I have no idea. But I know a lot of people needed to have their voice heard. But in the end, I still always believe that things happen when they're supposed to happen. And the charts give us a really good indication of when that can happen. And right now, based on my perspective of where this market is at right now, I think we're in for an incredible ride to happen here in the cryptocurrency market. And I think the altcoin market is going to truly be the show-stopping event. And historically, XRP is the biggest show-stopping event of them all. So as we head into the weekend, I'm just going to be keeping my eye on this and see if something big ends up happening. We've talked about it for a very long time, getting back up to the top side here. Here we are. Now it's just a waiting game for something big to come. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the week. I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic weekend. If you're looking for something to do throughout the weekend, of course, you can check out my website over here, which is bcbacker.com. This is a website that I put together with a course where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin market cycles, tying them all together to show how this cryptocurrency market has worked in the past, when alt seasons go, when Bitcoin tops. I talk about my personal exit plans in here, and I teach you how to set up your own charts and your own indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. I also talk about why mathematics and percentages are the most important to me. I do also have a market update in here that I recently added just a few days ago, right here on October 31st. That's available to anybody enrolled in the course and anybody who newly enrolls in the course. And you could check out all of this educational content over here on bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.